fast asleep in bed, and I can't seem to find the switch to turn the lights off, even though I need to fall asleep. Singing good night, moon. I'll close my eyes.
Is that you?
Alright, and sing good night to the
Molly?
shadows on the wall. We're drifting
Molly?
through the empty
You're too
streets
pretty.
with weightless feet, singing good night to
I love you. Are you my best friend?
when you are dreaming.
You're a bitch. I love you.
City lights